I've struggled my whole life with anxiety, depression, poverty consciousness, and non-existent self-worth. But here's the one massive change that actually helped. If you've watched my anxiety versus intuition video, you'll know that I've struggled with anxiety my entire life. So much so that it just became my baseline. I didn't even realize that what I was feeling was not normal. I just assumed this is what life was to live in constant fear. And because it went undiagnosed for so long, it also grew into quite a severe depression. But having been on medication for 3 years now, I can safely tell you that while meds was super helpful in managing the symptoms and helping me regain a clarity in mind, I did have to put in a lot of mental and spiritual work in order to break old cycles of negative thinking. Today, I want to share with you the one massive shift I made in my thought patterns that not only unblocked my creativity, but also brought me a ton of healing, mentally and emotionally, and helped me break old karmic cycles and toxic thought patterns in pretty much seconds. If you find this video helpful, then please remember to give me a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below so I know to make more of these. And with all of that said, let us now jump into the one major shift in my consciousness that helped me make massive amounts of progress instantly.
So here's the secret to fixing most issues with our thought patterns. Heal your inner divine feminine. Before you click away, I'll tell you now that this has nothing to do with biological sex or preferred gender. Divine masculine and divine feminine energies exist within all of us. But a lot of the times we tend to brush this idea off because we don't want to upset our carefully constructed concept of our gender, our fragile masculinity, or our deeply wounded femininity. So I'm going to say this again. This has nothing to do with gender or sex. To make things easier, let's assume these are simply homonyms. That is, the same words that mean different things. For example, the word book could mean either a novel or it could mean to make a reservation. Neither of these meanings is more effective or real than the other, and the word book itself wouldn't mean much if there was no context. In the same way, when I talk about the divine masculine and divine feminine, these terms have nothing to do with actual gender of an individual. Divine masculine and divine feminine are just words used to highlight the polarity of the energies that we're talking about. As humans, it is easy for us to understand the difference between male and female because we've had said differences shoved down our throats from a very young age. So it is quite simple for us to grasp the dichotomy between two energy states if we label them masculine and feminine. These are simply the energy states of yin and yang. Yin is the divine feminine energy, while yang is the divine masculine. They are diametrically opposed, but you need them both in order to find balance. And with a majority of us, it is pretty much a given that we are desperately in need for balance. You've probably heard the saying, "It's a man's world out there." It is known that the world runs on very masculine principles, from the carefully constructed social hierarchy to the systemic erasure of anything that is unique and different. This reeks of an out-of-control yang energy or an unbalanced divine masculine. You see, the divine masculine is the energy of doing. It is the energy of calculated moves and pre-written algorithms, logic and reasoning. It is the energy that sustains empires, wins wars, and ensures survival. In essence, the divine masculine is the guardian spirit. It protects what already exists and works via familiar pathways that are known to lead to success. You've probably been in your divine masculine energy when you've held a leadership position, paid your taxes, helped your kids with their homework, or even followed a recipe. And as I'm sure you can tell, a lot of the divine masculine characteristics are what we attribute to the idealistic man in our society. But like I said before, for the last couple of millennia, we've lived in a society driven by the divine masculine unbalanced. Doesn't matter what gender you identify with, what race you come from, what social standing you have, it is all divine masculine. Because the divine masculine gets stuff done. It checks boxes off the to-do list, and most importantly, it makes a profit. The divine masculine's job is to do and do, to give and give. The yang philosophy is that if you want something, you have to work for it and make it happen yourself. No handouts, you have to earn it. There is no such thing as a free meal. Everything you do must be in service of someone else. As you can guess, the divine masculine out of balance is what's led to things like toxic behavioral patterns, fascism, exploitation, and war. And with the way the world is right now, we are all being forced to sit still and look at how unbalanced we are as a society. Because while the qualities of the divine masculine are powerful and necessary, we've completely shunned its counterpart, that is the divine feminine. Did you feel an instinctive ugh when I mentioned the divine feminine? Good. Step 1 is identifying the problem, right? And step 2 is to prepare yourself, because we're gonna have to wade through the murky waters of a malnourished divine feminine. Trust me, I didn't want to do it either, but it's like a decaying tooth. You have to go in there and do the icky, painful work, or it's gonna put you in septic shock, like it has the society around us right now. You see, the divine feminine that you have ignored is the part of you that is creative. It is the energy of building the empires that the divine masculine then protects. It is what creates the calculated moves and writes the algorithms that the divine masculine follows. It is what takes humanity into a new age, which the masculine can then care for. The divine feminine is about creativity and intuition. And most important of all, while the masculine is the energy of doing and giving, the feminine is the energy of being and receiving. I mentioned in my last video about manifestation how important it is to let go and be patient while the universe puts all the pieces together for your manifestation to work. The reason we have to consciously work on this third step of manifestation is purely because we've forgotten the divine feminine state of receptivity. We do the work of visualizing and burning the candles and writing the intentions and giving thanks, but how many of us find it easy and instinctive to simply sit back, relax, and know that our will is done? Your divine feminine has been carefully and forcefully beaten out of you because it is impossible to contain. It is impossible to quantify the divine feminine and her attributes, and so she is vilified and buried. Even today, we shame stereotypically feminine qualities such as emotions, intuition, and creativity, and yet the people who really make it in this world are the ones that embody these very qualities. That's the irony of it though, isn't it? We are taught that it is noble to give and selfish to receive, but if you refuse to receive, you're gonna have nothing left to give. And that is why so many of us feel so deeply unsettled all the time. If our purpose is to give and give in service of everyone else, why aren't we being supported in this purpose? Why is there still such a lack in the world? Doesn't God or the universe know that all I want to do is be noble and serve the collective good? Then why am I cursed with poverty and isolation and hunger? And yet, none of us ever stop to think, hey, what if my purpose isn't solely to give? What if part of my purpose is to also receive? Just consider it for a moment and you'll realize that there was a whole chunk of your life's purpose that you have been ignoring. So how do you actually go about healing the divine feminine? Well, for starters, there are loads of amazing meditations on YouTube that will guide you through the process. At the crux of the matter is the willingness to let go of everything we know about life as it is and being open to the idea that there is so much out there that we don't understand. It is being willing to receive intuitive guidance and to actually act on it. And most of all, it is being okay with being called crazy or self-centered or being told that you're single-handedly ruining many lives in order to selfishly chase your passions. Healing the divine feminine means to take all of these doubts and fears, to get to the root of them, and then to transmute that into something better, something that leads by example. For me personally, a very powerful part of this healing process was to heal my root chakra. Now, whether you believe in chakras or not is irrelevant. The point is, according to dogma, the root chakra is your center of survival. It has to do with your attachment to the earthly realm and your relationship with the 3D world around you. If you've grown up having to fight to survive, or if you've grown up around poverty and instability, you're likely working from an unbalanced root chakra. In fact, I'll leave a video by this YouTube channel Lumiere in the description that really helps me with this. She mentions how when you're young, if you're around difficult situation, your soul sometimes finds it easier to simply detach from the earthly chakras, which is the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. But these are important for us to get anywhere in the 3D world. And a malnourished root chakra is often the source of poverty and instability. It's a really helpful video, make sure you watch it, and it is what really kicked off my mission to actively work on healing my own divine feminine. And the unintended consequence for me has been that I haven't had an anxiety attack since I consciously began working on this. Yes, despite the medication, I was still prone to panic attacks. I can't tell you how much of a relief it's brought me to feel this deep sense of freedom and relaxation. And without even realizing it, I somehow managed to regain my faith in the world, in humanity, and in magic. Because you see, the divine feminine is about a deeply rooted sense of security. It is the knowing that no matter what, there is an unshakable foundation within yourself that cannot be disturbed by any human construct. It may not eliminate any and all fears, but rather gives you the strength to know that you're fully capable of surviving whatever life may throw at you. For instance, this painting, oh my goodness, so I got towards the end of this painting and I was about ready to sign off, and then we had a power cut. Now we have power cuts all the time, so I wasn't too stressed out. I was like, okay, I'd probably miss maybe 5 minutes of work that I hadn't saved. Fine. When the power came back, I tried to open the file and my only saved copy of the file was corrupt, completely damaged. This was 19 hours of work that I squeezed into this one painting, and this was the one time I did not save a backup and I lost the entire painting. But thankfully, I still had my wits around me, and even though I was extremely upset, I still had the presence of mind to piece together the entire painting from the screen recordings that I had done for this video. So thankfully, we do still have an art piece, but this is the kind of security that I'm talking about, when everything can go wrong and you still know that you're gonna make it, you're gonna survive. And when you have that kind of faith, it becomes incredibly easy to shed old patterns and cycles that you know are going to hurt you, because you now trust your intuition. You now know that letting go of these toxic ideologies and these hurtful relationships simply means that you're creating space for what you truly want. It is the willingness to receive your happiness because you now know that you deserve it.
Like I said before, I have left a bunch of super helpful resources down in the description box. I can tell you that I have personally watched and worked through every single one of these videos, and let me tell you, they help a lot. So make sure you check those out down below. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, then please remember to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below, because I make new videos every single week. Comment below what video you want to see next and I will get on it. I will add it to my ever-growing list of videos to do on this channel. And with all of that said, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you've had fun. I know I have. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!